Hi guys, it's your girl aka Lotus Spice, and today I have so much to talk about. Transferred here to the US and they would just continue, they wouldn't have to start over. Lo and behold, you know what happened? The person had to end up start over. But it's been so busy for the last 2 months, guys. I kid you not. But I was like, I gotta get something out for my peeps. But it's been so busy. Because if you've been following me, you notice I'm no longer posting on Sundays. Now Mondays is the new Sundays. And sometimes Tuesdays, which is the case today. Because things have changed around so much. I switched my company that I was with. And up to last weekend, I had my commencement ceremony. I was successful with my master's in nursing. Yay! I completed my program last year, summer, just when commencement ceremony has ended. So as a result, I decided to wait. So yes, guys, I actually get to walk the stage last week. Ooh. I got my favorite family member, my cousin. She came down from New York to support me, yes, and I have a friend or two who also joined me, and my big son, yes. So guys, I tell you, it has been such a busy, but I was like, I have to get over here for my peeps, right? So today's topic is gonna be aware of recruiters that are offering service that are not cookie cut, and actually not what was offered or explained. Be aware of recruiters scamming migrants, right? And in some areas, especially nursing, right? I'm aware of some situation where I've spoken to individuals and they were telling me that, you know, they signed up with recruiters, and when they reach where they're supposed to be working, it wasn't the job description that they were promised, right, guys? So to all my migrants out there, my nurses, doesn't matter what career, because even beside nursing, I've spoken to individuals who was seeking education program overseas, and the recruiter, they were told by the recruiter that what they had, because they were going to school in their home country, and what they were doing, it could be transferred here to the US and they would just continue, they wouldn't have to start over. Lo and behold, you know what happened? The person had to end up start over, because although the recruiter claimed that the credits that they were doing in their home country were transferable, when they arrived in the US, it was not. So as a result, it put them behind, it set them behind, put them in additional expenses, which they probably didn't budget for. Can you imagine, guys? So yes, be mindful with many of these recruiters. It doesn't matter what job. For my nurses, I have a story coming up where someone informed me they were described, they are, say for example, because I don't want to disclose too much, but for example, they're an ICU nurse, and lo and behold, when they come to the US, they basically put them in one of the slums. Like, if you know the US, you know some areas that are very, you know, not the best. And how you know too, if you notice the locals, right, are not gravitating towards that area doing those jobs, and they're just seeking migrants to fill it, rest assured, guys, that area or those areas is not the best. So here, what you do, you're gonna take the opportunity, right? Take it, but you got to be mindful and see how quick or how soon you can move on and get out. You do not linger, you do not stay, because a lot of times it does not benefit you staying in an area that you are not trained and it's not your specialty. Because as a minority, after a while, when you seek to move on or seek to gain experience and exposure elsewhere, or even go back into your specialty, you'll realize there'll be a problem. If you're supposed to do your national exam for this area, whatever it is, right, certification, you realize that you need to be having or practicing in that area. You need hours within that area to be able to certify, guys. Yes. So one of my colleagues reached out to me and she was letting me know that, for example, she's an ICU nurse. Lo and behold, when she came, they placed her in ER. And she was letting me know, some of my little videos that I do here actually helped her. Because I told her and she realized that if she stays in ER, guess what? She won't be able to move on. She'll be stuck. And then while they allow her to be in the ER, although not trained ER nurse, funny enough, if she's to move on, they're gonna seek like, oh, were you trained? Where's your you know what I mean? So it's like a double standard. When it's convenient to them, it's okay. When it's not convenient to them and it's more convenient to you as the individual, it's a problem. So guys, my nurses, those who seek in education, pay attention to what the recruiters are oftentimes seek out recruiters that are recommended. Individuals have gone ahead and used them and have been finding this or those recruiters beneficial and promising whatever they offer, they actually live up and hold up that end of the bargain. Remember, guys, stick to recruiters who are recommended or those who actually you read the fine print. And even if you don't read all of the fine print, you read majority of the fine print, because yes, it was brought to my attention that there are actually recruiters out there who may tell you, yes, your courses, your credits are transferable here to the US to whatever college it is. And when you arrive or reach, you realize you have to do everything over. Your setback, both on finance, money, and time. And even some go as far as when you're done, it's a hard battle to fit in and find jobs that your degree, that you completed your degree in. Guys, you have to be very careful. Yes, you want the opportunity and I mean, by all means, seek the opportunity overseas. But you have to be mindful that sometimes when you seek these opportunities, if you're not careful, if you do not talk to other people and get recommendation from others, you can set yourself behind when you think you'd have propelled forward or even be ahead compared to where you were back in your home country behind. So guys, as much as there's opportunity, you want to still go forward, choosing the best choices and doing what's best for you, yourself, and your family, right? I remember when I wanted to migrate. Yes, although I wanted to migrate, I was in no hurry. I had my little plans, right? And I set them forth and I did what I need to do and I get going. So you yourself, you should have your little plans. Please do not act from a place of desperation. Whenever you're attempting to migrate, do not act from a sense of desperation, because a lot of times when we act from a sense of desperation, that's when we get caught up and get ourselves in even deeper situation than what we were running from. You know the common saying from back home, you jump from frying pot and land in a fire. It's real, guys, it's real. Sometimes when you migrate, it's not peaches and cream, which was displayed or shown or seemed to be, right? And until you realize and arrive, that's when you realize, oh, it isn't what it really is. So guys, be mindful. There are recruiters out there offering roles, function, jobs, programs, school programs that it's the opposite of what they're saying. Pay attention, read the fine lines, make some calls yourself, right? Query and find out whatever toll-free number these programs may have. Ask them, do whatever you can prior to. Ask other individuals who have gone ahead, find out what program they have used. How was their experience, right guys? And that is how sometimes you can set yourself up for success and not necessarily in hot water. You're jumping from a situation thinking it's going to be better and only to land lower than where you were at. You have to be mindful, guys. And like I said, yes, my colleague, she actually reached out saying that when she checked with the individuals after arriving at this institution, they told her there's no plan to move her from that area. And that's not the area she worked in. And rest assured, there are other factors to look in, right? She's not in her 20s. So this area is definitely not a good fit for her. But what they told her, oh, they have no plans to move her. However, she did her due diligence and she reached out to whomever, right? Because she's been thinking, which I'm so proud of her, which you realize you have to do a lot of times, guys, because no one is going to save you. You have to save yourself, especially sometimes in these first world countries. So she reached out to whomever and she did what she needed to do to move on from this area, because She even went on and told me that while she was there, individuals were leaving. Like no one would stay. The turnover rate was so high. And those are little signs that you look out for and you realize that that's not a hot place. For those who want to be desperate and who are desperate, right, to migrate, then if you want to go through all of that, rest assured you can, but there'll be lots of regrets. So all who wish to hear and listen, be free, feel free, listen and hear, right? But rest assured, there'll be lots of regrets because when you do things from desperation, a lot of times you have to face what comes with being desperate, right? And even sometimes you do not do things out of desperation, and here it is still hard to fit in. It is still hard to settle and benefit from what you need to benefit from or ought to benefit from. So guys, do your due diligence, right? Do your research, speak to others, and read those fine print. Okay? So remember, if it is too good to be true, it probably ain't true, guys. So be mindful of those recruiters recruiting, promising you roles, programs that do not exist, or gonna put you further behind than where you were at in your home country. Sometimes it's best to complete whatever program you're completing in your home country, then migrate. Because if you should migrate in the midst on the promise that whatever you're doing is transferable, a lot of times you'll realize it ain't acceptable. And like I said, there are few professions which the US tend to accept their credentials and their training. Some of them are teaching, your teachers, nurses, yes, and a few others, your tech, individuals who are in the tech world. Oftentimes you'll realize that those are easily transferable. But some of the profession and career that are a little bit more unique, you'll realize that it ain't a walk in the park. Okay, guys? So be mindful. Be mindful with oftentimes how you spend your money with these recruiters and what you're investing in and the promises that are promised to you. Okay? And that's all for today. Last week I spoke about finance, and I just wanted to talk about this because it kept popping up. I didn't want to forget about it, right? So coming up next, I'm going to continue on finance, which I did the last time. If you saw my last video, it was about finance, a little bit about ins and outs, how to be successful using credit card and sorting out your finances as a migrant. So I'm going to continue on that. I hope to do on credit score, right? Something of that nature next. So I'll see you soon, and thanks for stopping by. Peace.